So participants one is just us, right? When it said that.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody's ready. I'm gonna call to order down the Swanton regular select board meeting. It is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. The time is 6 p.m. So if everybody would please rise and join us in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, go around the room for agenda review, round the table, Christina. Kathy,
I'm good, thank you.
Paul,
I'm all set.
I'm all right. I'm good, Nick.
See, two things, I wanted to get an update on the grant for the historical society buildings to see where it's at this point. That we discussed this last meeting. And also just have a question about, so I was just in the prior meeting, orange striping on the corner River Road.
Okay, so grant under Old Town Business.
Yeah.
Grant for,
Grant for the historical society building, those, the museum that currently exists. The depot, yeah,
all right, and so the other was line striping on the corner.
yeah, this is, you know,
Okay. Steve, did you say you're good? Brian?
Okay, I've got, under new business, we're gonna add a new appointment to Swanton Recreation Commission. Somebody there working on that. And, you know, I just did that this morning, that's it, so.
Okay.
That's, the only thing that I have.
And we'll go ahead and get started, minutes, regular select board meeting, September 2nd, 2025.
second,
So move to approve or to disapprove? What's that?
two,
To approve, okay. Motion is made and second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Both. Public comments, this is for anything that is not on the agenda for tonight. Hearing none, we're gonna move on to law enforcement, strong animal control, page 4 of the package. Some dog issues I see.
The incident happening on the 26th, where the owners avoiding him, is there another method that we should be following up on, or should I follow up on it?
He said he's gonna keep going there.
What's that? Okay.
Whenever comes, he's gonna keep going there, pursuing that 8th Street.
Oh, the gym is,
Yeah, the dog is a puppy, so it's probably how this first round of shots. He said he's going
all right, anything else regarding the animal control? Part of the communication, everything good, looks like it with Jim, looks like he's been available to chase down quite a few of these, so. Good. Moving on to expenditures, these are orders from August 20. 2025 to September 16, 2025. We'll start with general orders in the amount of $71,882.75. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the general orders in the amount of $71,882.70.
I'll second. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Are we in our final payment stage for the like some other? Maybe it was in another place, another highway, this, what type of issue with that?
For the
The trailhead.
oh, we've got that made 140,000 total out of about 460 something. Yeah, they'll be coming in with 2 or 3 more, cause now they really turned to work on this. Yep.
Part of the general order.
No,
Well, what about the grant? Who, does the grant come to us and we pay it out, or do they bill it themselves?
we pay the bill and we submit for.
We have to pay
reimbursement from the
everything
state.
upfront.
Yes,
Okay,
and we paid once and got a pretty good turnaround from the state reimbursing, and the second one just got sent in, the state said it looks good and they're sending it in for reimbursement, so.
our
We
match.
tested it, that's a 20%.
About 100,
That,
about 120,000 match.
correct. Anything else on the general orders? Here are none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Highway orders and down to $61,238.77.
I'll make a motion to approve the highway orders at $61,238.77.
Motion been made and seconded, is there any discussion? Here none, all in favor state aye. Opposed, so moved. Library orders in the amount of $2,870.32.
I'll make a motion to approve the library orders in the amount of $2,870.32.
There a second? Motion been made and seconded, is there any further discussion? There are none, all in favor state aye. Opposed? Moved. This is highway and general payroll for a total amount of $33,818.88. Fair motion to approve.
I'll move that we approve the payroll order with the stated.
There a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, any further discussion? Here are none, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moved. Library payroll orders in the amount of $4,601.85, so your motion,
I'll make a motion to approve the library payroll orders at $4,601.85.
And I'll second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Getting none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moved. Special orders in the amount of $81,008.76, for your motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the special orders for the amount stated and the date stated.
There a
I'll
second?
second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Just to follow up, yes, sir, we are paying that to the full amount and we submit the reimbursement. This is, well, the last 3 are all related to the LDR, not related to the LDR.
But they submit every time, they pay back every time you make a submission. Right, they don't wait right till the end.
No,
So
no, we tested it right off. The first time we got a big bill from, Right Excavating, we submitted for reimbursement.
Yeah.
We get it pretty quick. I
and
do
we'll get 8, so we're gonna end up getting 80% of that back.
correct. Yep. And Kathy's got a good spreadsheet of the different things that we spent money on between the engineering and the construction. The state rep, we'll talk about it. These are all the orders. Any further discussion on special orders? Hearing none, all in favor, state aye. Opposed? So moved. Moving on to 5, which is the highway update. Through last 4 weeks, they've been doing some mowing, they've been prepping roads for paving. Placing material along the shoulders after paving driveways around mailboxes and in areas where there's a pretty good drop off, for the material there. And doing some vehicle repair. Today they were down on the Quam Shore, working with the tree company. Taking out a very large tree that had 4 large trunks that was completely dead, and there's several more down there that we're gonna be going after. Paving. All the paving for this year has been completed. I will state What we went out for bid on, we had Sweet Hollow Road, well, we switched Cook Road and Sweet Hollow Road because. There was an error on the distance that we were counting for Sweet Hollow Road and go into more detail if anybody wants it. But we were gonna be over if we did Sweet Hollow Road, Cook Road needed to be done, so we're still getting the same tonnage as what we put on the contract. Mike did a nice job, Swanton Hill Road up there, it's very nice now that it's paved and dropped 7 feet, it's a much safer situation. So unless there are any questions about the paving, it is
On the old, did get paid.
yeah, the whole thing and Reynolds Road and. And Swan Hill from French Hill Road all the way up. To the road.
You had some left for Cook Road.
Yes. Yeah, Hook Road was under that initial 400 something thousand. We
Yeah.
did. We just substituted it and we'll get Sweet Home. Swan Hill, mentioned all the work's completed. When we get the bill from Pike, they're gonna give us 3 separate bills. That way we'll be able to tell you exactly what we spent up on Swan Hill. And then we'll see what we have for balance, talked about probably using next year for that culvert. There. Brooklyn Street culvert, I know you're working on those easements. Hopefully we get to it this fall, the trees also are a priority. The one thing about doing Brooklyn this fall is the groundwater level is so low right now, it would be the best time to do it, that area in the spring can get very wet and very nasty. Line striping, I notified L&D safety markings that our paving is complete. They will call when they're ready to come up and pave the roads that are not paving, stripe the roads that we have. Nick, as far as McQuam Shore, what's your question? I can probably answer it right now.
Yeah, the question is, I know we discussed that the state already striped McQuamshire. And that the paving could darken it further. Are we gonna have to redo it, or is it looking clear enough that we could avoid that, or is it?
No, when you pave it, you pave over the striping. Striping's gone. So spoke to the guy from the state. He originally made it sound like we didn't notify him. So we sent an email from the spring where we notified him what we were doing. And then he backed off and said, okay, we will let L&D know that they need to come back and do Farm Shore. And I called L&D last week to tell them about our roads and asked them about McQuam Shore. They stated that they already striped it in early August, so I gotta go back to the guy from the state. Because the state should pay for it. But the conversation's amazing. When I originally notified the state, someone at District 8 said, yeah. Even though you notified the guy that handles the striping and you told him. So they'll probably strike right over to him. And that's exactly what they do. So we'll see if we can get them to do it, because right now. That does not have any lines, and then. County road. The state had not straightened that yet, that's a class 2 road, so they should be straightened, so. We'll have more conversations with the state, we'll see how it goes. Let you know, next month. Trees, already talked about tree, Berry Road culvert. East Engineering is working the design. They expect to have permit applications ready in about a month. And the aim is to have this project ready for 2026 structures grant application. We'll see how that goes. Besides the structures grant, we're gonna have to put in a fair amount of our own money. What we saved on Swan Hill and maybe taking some out of our paving for a year to help. Get that culvert replaced, that current culvert up there. 8-10 feet in diameter, to meet the state's new requirements, it's gotta be a 35-foot opening there. Underneath that culvert. 35, the EOP, a big structure, it's gonna go test.
There is a lot of water. And for food.
Halloween story that washed both sides of that over. Yep.
It's not gonna be a cheap ordeal.
No, close to $500,000. Board, it's within my spending authority, but we have about $1,800 in the balance under culverts and signs. We need to buy a culvert for Bushy Road. It's around $3,000. I would like the board to just okay me to take $1,000 from the road improvement line item to cover the difference. There's quite a bit of money left over there.
I'll make a motion to make that transfer in budget so that we get the program.
There's a second. Motion made in second. Any further discussion? Here none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you. Any other questions for highway? Old town business, corrected motion to abatement of taxes on the 9/2/2025 regular select board meeting.
In the minutes, the last meeting, the minutes reflect the correct information, however, they state that if you see what's doing the minutes. It's actually the stated motion for the 2005. Actually, 2004. And so that's this statement corrected motion.
So I'll make a corrective motion to change that from 2025 to 2024.
Here a second. Okay, motion made in second. Any further discussion? Here none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
I abstain.
So moved. LVRT trailhead update, a lot of progress has been made in the last couple of weeks, pavilion is all done except for, metal on the roof and a little bit of, staining pavement, both layers were put on between yesterday and today, very nice job, if you take a look at that, striping will be tomorrow. Landscaping is pretty much done, and the 6 trees have been planted. Topsoil's been put down, seeded, mulched. A little bit of signage, wayfinding signage to do that's about 70% complete, but they've got a little more to do with that. There is a 3-sided structure to go around the porta potty that's gonna be constructed. They started it today. It's going to take a couple days. So we extended them from 1 August to 19 September, which is Friday. They will be very close to being. They won't be contract complete, but they should be very close to substantial completion. So that is a good thing, and it's very nice to get that open. Which leads us, well, I don't know if there's any questions on strictly parking area itself.
No, yeah, the ribbon does look very nice. And put up a nice fence for the lighting there, that the neighbors were concerned about it there, and it does look really nice. I went by there today.
Okay. Now, speaking of LVRT, you talked about whether or not we're gonna have some type of grand opening, ribbon cutting, whatever you wanna call it. Brian asked him to make some calls down to Montpelier, and I think all we got was crickets on the phone line.
However, late this afternoon.
Okay, all right.
No, well, Representative Matt Walker, unrelated subject, I said, well. As long as I mentioned on the phone, I asked him who was a good contact person in the governor's office. And he said, well, he says, they gotta cut $7 million out of the transportation budget. And there's a JCOG, Joint Transportation Oversight Committee meeting tomorrow that he's going to, so he's gonna get and tell somebody in the governor's office. Swamp. Oh, what I'm gonna do, the point of that is to see if we like the governor, but we would like to know what his availability is. What days are available. Then. And we still have the signs, advertisement, lawn signs that we didn't use. Ribbon breaking ceremony, but I talked to Matt with that when I had him on the phone. I said we'll just get some stickers and put over the correct date line on it. He said that'd be fine. We can certainly do that. So I'm gonna be hearing back from somebody in Montpelier, we know instead. They trying to see what they did with the
Yeah. Debbie asked a question the other day when we stopped to take a look at it. Can we allow if somebody wanted to put a little coffee truck up there and sell coffee and soda and for certain times of the day? The parking, I wonder if that would be permissible.
I think it's technically our. Property through the lease,
I mean, it's just another service. That's-
right, it's a question I certainly can ask the one who handles the rail trails, but I think because it's our property. That we should be able to allow that, the board makes that
And
decision.
they could go to McDonald's or the other places, but it's kind of a nice little courtesy to, like, and maybe nobody would be interested.
No, with other employers right around there, you know, that. They might walk right across the street and use that too.
They call us food trucks. Yeah.
Right,
I mean, it's just a thought.
no, that's something we should be looking into, is this whole thing becomes you know, fruition. Summertime, I was talking winter.
Maybe, it's a 4-season trail, there might be a. Mass amount of people looking to get a cook over the winter.
So, the one thing we talked about was the day of the week, maybe Saturday, you know, Saturday morning, we're only gonna have. 3 or 4 before it gets too cold, and we don't wanna do this anyway, but once we hear from the governor's office, I think we send a note out right off the bat and see if the board's good with it. Doesn't have to be too fancy, but to me, it's worth getting some people up here and some recognition and in the paper to help advertise and
It's the governor and his wife both had the bike. So I'm sure.
Yeah, and the other time before, I think just to be politically correct, you should send an invitation to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, Brian and I talked about that, absolutely, because he's the one who got that grant for it to the state, the federal money, yeah.
If he can't come, he probably send some to or something.
Send them there. Yeah, so.
Which brings up another issue. Our sign is pretty well blocked right now. Or out here, see it. Yeah. But you know what, if this is gonna open up, it'd be nice to have that on there, and I know that other thing will be out of there by then. For the after school party, which I agree, you know, it's a great thing, but. It should have been not blocking our sign.
It was a block.
Well, it's hard to see.
Yeah, okay, well, we've had this issue before.
Well, have you driven there? Have you driven to the, have you, at the end of First Street, the Grand Avenue?
Right, but I'm the type that it's always there, I don't pay attention to it.
Okay, well, it is difficult to see, you can see mostly the top line, it's hard to see the bottom line.
Okay.
Yeah, to me, you move that sign,
Yeah.
then after,
Well,
because
Yeah, I mean, anybody can go out there and put a sign anywhere they.
no,
No.
no, they're not supposed to. That's why somebody took all those small ones out.
Right, they need to ask the village. For sign,
Which they probably did, and this organization must be aware of that.
but we just. Politely.
Yeah, if they could just move it off to the side so that, you know, everything could be seen. I believe there's enough room for both of
Oh, I
them to
would
be seen
think
well.
so.
If he doesn't know anything about it, call, I don't know who's in charge of the after goal, but you probably could find that out fairly easy.
Yeah. I've got contact info with here.
And with that in mind too, maybe we should make something that big to put out there too. Because it is, you see it, you know what it is.
It definitely sticks out right there.
Maybe you can see about getting a banner done for that. That we could use, you know, maybe in the future, change the letter and, I don't know if they make banners where you can keep you reusing them by taking the letter off.
No, it's that way it's printed up and.
Yeah, it'd be worth doing because I think it seems to be more visual than. Than a sign. Yeah, once you figure out the date.
Once you figure out the date, then you know, it'd be nice to get some bikes possibly up there, as we
Yeah.
talked about, minimal work, so. More to follow on that, but hopefully we can get it done and have some nice weather like we're having right now. Okay, item of business is Maple Grove decision. And this is a follow-up to a meeting a couple of weeks ago. We had a lot of discussion, homeowners, developer. But we never, as a board, made a decision on what we are gonna do as far as going forward or not. Wanna remind the board of our June 2024 motion. That we talked about, taking over the road, the second section of the road up by Maple Grove Estates. Talked about having the top coat put on. Developer pays for court test and ensure the road is built to A76 standards. Developer pays all legal fees the town will incur. The town of Swanton will have in writing the approved stormwater permit plans and not incur a large cost to the town of Swanton. Since those motions were made and approved, the whole stormwater permit, we'll get some more clarification on that, which we talked about in subsequent meetings. So here we are today, got the core testing done. I think everyone on the board is aware of core test. And that is one step out of 4. And we need to decide what we are gonna do as far as moving forward or not. We've taken over that second section. And tonight wouldn't be a decision, I don't think, on taking it over, it'd be a decision of, are we even gonna move forward or not? And if we're moving forward, what requirements are we gonna have other than. Or just what we stated before, so I open this up right now. To the board to discuss, and then I'll open it up to some folks in the audience.
Just have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Who's the storm water permit issue to this one?
I believe it would be the.
Okay. No, the town has nothing to do with it at this point.
Not at this point, and that's. Part of what we found out from the state, if we are to take over the road, we need to be a co-permittee on that permit. And we can get into a letter of agreement with the developer, and then if it switches over to HOA. Where we are a co-permittee. But. That agreement would say we did not want to incur any costs, etc., but that's something that needs to be discussed in the letter of agreement if we go down that path. But right now, the unions are. Permitting.
You're looking for motions so we can get discussion going?
Well, I think we've got, I just wanna see if board members have anything more they wanna add or ask. As road commissioner, I tried to lay out exactly what I think is a requirement for a road. I think I've laid out factually what we found regarding the road. And I don't know if there's any other questions regarding that. But. This is where we're at, so.
Well, I guess I'll open the discussion and A76 standards don't specifically call for 18 inches of grass, first. So our standards are a little bit higher than what A76 is, which is, probably fine. But this was done a long time ago. And as far as I could see, the intent was that they were gonna take over the road. In the future, when the project was done. And it was built to the same standards as the road they took over before. So I don't know, and their engineer seems to be in the. To stand behind that it was built to those standards. Kind of difficult to, kind of backpedal at this point in time and switch over to the new ones. Because that's one of the issues here is the amount of time that's gone by. The road itself, I mean, its appearance, it was very good. And the drainage, I don't really see any drainage issues up there. I mean, it's naturally drained and the road is high above the other drain, so you don't have much of a problem there. I don't know, that's just the way I feel because it was implied in the past that it was gonna happen. homeowners bought their property with that in mind, they might not have bought that property if it was. Because part of it, the other end, they're gonna, has been sold as a private. And the lots off the road. So it's a totally different situation, so I think the intent is always there. And I know a lot of time has gone by, the town has policies now that we make policy changes. There was a policy at one time, the town wasn't gonna take it over any roads, and I don't know, that probably went off for 4 or 5 years. Not, in my feeling, not a sustainable policy, and I think that. You know, if we expect this community to see growth and, you know, sustainable growth in the future, to help, you know, stabilize tax bases and grant less growth. At a reasonable rate, we're gonna have to participate in the infrastructure. Because if we don't, they'll go to towns. That's my feeling.
Okay. Yeah, I just would like to counter a little bit, fully understand the 18 inches is in our new road takeover policy, so A76, if this was to A76 standards at 15 inch. I think the board could have that discussion and say, let's go ahead and prove it. Well, we've had core samples taken, which it was your motion. To get core samples, we don't have 15 inches of gravel. Time, the stuff doesn't disappear over time. We have some places where it's 9, we have one place where it's 6.5. So we don't have the 15 inches. I would sit here and say, if I knew we had. Crushed stone in there at 15 inches. Then yes, it would meet A76 standards, but we don't have that right now. There are 2 engineers involved. The engineer that met with us last year up there. Is the one that was tasked with providing the borings. And is not here with us tonight. And he's in his email to us said. It doesn't meet the requirement.
I know, that's what it says, but. The road looks like it does.
Well, I just have a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
When you said it was, you think it was implied that the town would take the road over years ago, you had something that.
Well, they have the minutes they brought, and I did talk with the former road foreman. And. That's basically what he assumed. That was gonna happen.
Who's that?
Harold, he was in there at the time. But then, right, it's because at that period, it was like 2018, so if it would have been a year or two later, they were planning on taking over. It wouldn't have happened because at that point in time, when I first got back on the board again. Somebody came in, I don't remember who it was, but they wanted the road, you know, they were asking that same question, and. The reply was that the town is not taking any roads over at the present time.
And just if you can help me, on the stormwater permit, which is now owned by. Mr. and Mrs. King.
Yep.
who own the road. If we took over the road. Would we have any ongoing liability for meeting the terms of that?
The stormwater is. In our policy. Says that, you know, that if we have to be coal signees, but coal permit holders. But the cost for the permits will be borne by either the developer or the homeowner.
The homeowners not owning the road have no liability to cover the cost at this point. Without an HOA, they don't own it.
They, without an HOA, all, it falls on the developer right now, they're the ones that have to, because it's not a town road anyway, at this point in time. They had to get the original permit, and what are you in the process of updating or renewing the permit?
We're in the process, this week we paved it.
No, we're talking stormwater, are you,
Well, Travis Colano's been in there, Rocky Ridge has been in there, he's updated everything.
so
State.
you had to renew the permit, I would assume, because it's.
In the process.
Yeah, yeah,
What's the? The permit includes total impervious surfaces of the development.
That's right.
Which would include tops, driveways, patios. And the road. So the town I own the road, percentage of that, so it's each individual's owner percentage. So
They corresponds with the permit.
now, but the law also is that an HOA comes in to take over. The town has to be on there as a co-permittee. That's the insurance policy in the state. That is something to go wrong with the HOA. So it'll come.
Come to us for that. That's a liability that is under.
Well,
I agree, and something I'm also very concerned about.
but rest of the rules keep changing that aspect. You know,
But we're already in that situation. So. We're liable for Steve, not for just this one, everyone down the road if they don't pay up. That's basically what's gonna happen.
I think there would be a. If there is an in-state law, there has to be a protection for the town for the backup plan.
But with this situation here, we would finally do it in writing. That was signed by the town and the HOA or the developer, whoever ends up keeping that permit. Like I said, they are responsible for the cost of maintaining that permit.
Yeah, it'd be a legal agreement, it'd have to be sent
Yep.
down and recorded in the state.
At this point, there's no HOA.
What's that?
There's no HOA.
No, at the present time, it's not done yet.
It's in the process,
Yeah.
right, more.
It's in the process. We've met with a lawyer and we're waiting on a couple other things to finalize. And then we will have the HOA. We just have to, Travis Belial's been in there the last couple of days. He's been updating it. He's got a really good relationship with Peter Mazard. Peter's gonna sign off on it and then we can move forward with the HOA. Taking it over. We've had a lawyers meeting so far. Everything's slow.
And as homeowners, you understand your responsibility then.
I don't understand why this is such a big deal. I understand the board went on something in the past, that should not be reflected upon us.
Yeah, Mike, you're gonna get your turn,
That's
we're gonna let the,
fine.
we're gonna let
That's
the, we're gonna ask the questions and we're gonna open up just some basic stuff. If
You just
there's
asked the
changes,
question.
well, raise that right now.
I'm kind of sorry I did ask. the question.
You asked the question,
Yeah.
then you got an answer, and then you got another comment.
All right,
Let me give a
Yeah,
question for
go ahead.
Earl. There's another road that we partially control. If we take over this road without meeting H76 standards, do you think there would be preference to take over other roads in the future?
well, I think we got a problem, to be honest with you. Because we don't really, I even asked Brian, what do we got for design and. How does this work and what do we hand somebody? Well, we don't really have anything other than that one sheet policy we got. Did take a look at Highgate things, but they get involved in the process a little bit earlier, so, I think we need to make something that's more clear to the people that are in the development business. What's expected of them.
You're absolutely right, I got two cross sections from a professional engineer to add to our road takeover policy. And we should also have a conversation with our DRB.
Yeah.
About when they're approving developments, that it's made very clear. What the road takeover
Yes,
policy is,
yeah.
so that they get, not A76, A76 doesn't require asphalt on top of it. 15 inches of gravel, that's A76. So yes, we
Or
should have it.
sand too,
What's that?
it says sand or gravel.
And no, it doesn't say sand. No, sand does not have the
Okay.
same stroke.
Alright.
But we should have clear cut road cross sections that we get.
But I mean, to try to be fair to developers in the future. We need to be very clear about what's, how the process is gonna go.
Yeah, that's there, but let's get back to.
Yeah, and to answer Nick's question, I already know of a couple other roads that people are talking about will be before us, ones we turned down before. So. Anything else on the board? Any new information for us?
Basically, I'm gonna let these guys speak because you know why I'm here. Trying to get it for these guys so they don't worry about the road being plowed and. Doing this for Buddy and he'd be real happy if you guys stood by the word that you told him, because he invested a ton of money and. We're just hoping you do the right thing, because he's been very happy working with all of you for years and years. And it's time you guys, we made a promise to him. And that's where I'm gonna leave it, and
I'll speak first, just
No, she's talking, just a second.
and I'll just yield my time to the residents of the road.
Okay, thank you, I'm gonna ask if you don't have new information, then we don't speak, if you got new information for us regarding this, then speak up. Who wants to go first?
I do.
Yes,
The thing that gives me heartburn here is that we keep pinning this on a core center. And looking at all of the resources out there, all the documents, all of the references. There's nothing that supports utilizing a core sample from 13 years later to get to bridge back to what the road was constructed with at the time of construction. Nothing. And if you have something, please share it, because I haven't seen it. And you would have to have something that says every year this could be affected by some percentage, because you're gonna get into the same problem whether you do 2-year-old road, 3-year-old, 4-year-old road. You're gonna take a core sample, the core sample gives you a date and time of what the road is at that time. That's all it does. You cannot use that alone to get back to the original construction. In here, it also tells that in order, I mean, this is stuff that's out on the World Wide Web. Anybody can punch it in. I'm not a brainiac. And it basically says it can reveal the physical condition of the layers, including signs of deterioration, moisture damage, and deep bottom between layers. Why the original subbase thickness cannot be determined. The subbase is the foundation layer of aggregate placed directly on the subgrade, the natural ground. Over 13 years, the forces of traffic, weather, and the surrounding environment causes these changes. And then there's several other points here to be made, but the other says, if you really want to get the original construction records, the most reliable way to learn the original specification is by reviewing the original construction plans, design documents, and inspection reports. These record documents the target thickness at the time of construction. Now, in order to make that concept work, of core samples, bridging back to the original construction, what gives me heartburn is you basically have to take and delegitimize an engineering group that is certified in 4 different states to do business. It's rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. And basically what you're doing is you're delegitimizing their process and you're telling them, we don't believe you. And in that sign-off sheet that he did and provided to this board, he determined that he looked at the thicknesses. It's stated right in his document. So you're delegitimizing him for that in order to make that bridge back from a core sample from today, 13 years ago. And let me tell you something. You're going to get in trouble with core samples. That's not the place to be doing it. Do it up front, hire your own engineer, make the developer pay for it, and have them up there at the time that goes certified. It's a matter of a measurement on a yardstick. It's that simple. That is the place you should be doing it. You hire the engineer, you make the developer pay, and you pay the engineer, so there's no cross-contamination of what's going on. That is where it belongs. It doesn't belong in a core sample. If you get on a core sample, the core sample road, what are you going to do if somebody comes in and the core sample says they're 2 inches short, 4-year-old one, 3-year-old, they're 3 inches short. You're going to refuse them too? Do you have something that says that ours is degraded to the point that all of the stuff that it's seen over 13 years is abnormal? Is there some sheet? Is there some form? Is there something out there in the world that would lead us to believe that that's not normal or that couldn't happen? And if you tell somebody that's got 2 inches shy, you're not going to allow them, I wouldn't think you would, because what you're going to do to us. And if you did do that, we're not going to be happy. And you could say, well, that was only 2 inches shot, and we're gonna look at you and say, yeah, but the road was only 3 years old. So where's your formula? Where's your degradation formula? Don't go down that road is what I'm trying to say. I think it's a dangerous path.
Alright. And this is all based on your opinion, and you've done a lot of, you've done a lot of research with AI, and AI has right at the bottom. AI is not always true. I've got engineering experience, I've talked to professional engineering, we're not talking 2 inches here, we're talking some cases 9 inches. So there's a big difference, so you've had your say, I've had my say, who else wants to add something here?
I just have a question, cause I'm not here for this, but, my understanding of that development was 3 sections. So how long has it been since the second section that you're taking over was completed, as far as building wise? Like the houses,
The houses, I don't know when each one was built,
like the last one, I'm saying.
I don't know, I don't have
I
that
know
one.
when that last one, in
Well,
that
it's been
section,
10 years,
okay. So
10 years. plus.
So 10 years, and like you guys are saying, that you're absolutely right, this corp is 13 years old. If developers are gonna follow that. Thinking. The road should have been applied for 10 years ago. Because,
We did, but they said they couldn't take it over.
but that's fine, but a core sample. It doesn't lie, like. We're not talking about an inch, and quite frankly, in my opinion, if, because, so I'm on the planning commission, we make these rules. With the input of the town people. We had a development last year. That put in a driveway and a cul-de-sac for 3 houses. When they went to permit it, the certificate of occupancy, the cul-de-sac was 50 feet too small. So they told the people they had to fix it. What do? They scraped 2 inches or 3 inches of topsoil off and put stone on it, so it looks right. And I'm not saying this is how you guys built it, cause I don't know anything about this, but it's just that. My job on the planning commission is to make rules for people to follow, because not everybody is out there with the town's best interests in their mind or whatever. And so the only way that we can enforce these rules is with samples when the permit is applied for. So. And like Joel said. A road isn't, the point of the road is this standard that we just put in the new bylaws. Is that the road is built to what the state and others find to be structurally sound. It's not gonna lose 9 inches of gravel or stone in 10 years. If it does, they would never adopt that standard, because if you think about it. I mean, how much older, hundreds of years old are the roads in Swanton? There would be no roads left if every 10 years they lose half of their stone base. They would just sink into nowhere. So. I guess my point is regardless of who it is, that the town needs to. Stick to the rules that were made with input, we took 2 years to do this. And. With all kinds of public input, and we did have a lot of people come to the meetings. That. We can't make these rules. And then change them, and yes, this is a 13-year-old road, but the problem is that it's. Being. Asked to be taken over now, not 13 years ago, so there probably were different standards then. But this is where as the town, we have to say, okay, as. Time goes on, technology changes, we find better, more. Effective ways to do things. That. We need to require the same of our developers, there might be other roads that people come in for. For the same thing, that are an inch or two short, but it's an inch or two short is an inch or two short, you still gotta to maintain. The standard of the town, because if we let one person slip through. It just, and we talked about this in our meeting last week. All our board, and we don't have a small board, has families, and we basically volunteer our time every month. Why are we gonna volunteer our time to make rules for the town that people support? If we're not gonna enforce them, I'd rather be at home with my wife and my kids than to be out here every month.
So as we stated, we're gonna work
Yep.
to improve that piece of it, so.
And I think that if you, in the new bylaws, it is significantly more detailed. What is required of people, developers, so I think we have worked on that some and in most of it. It does go back to your road takeover policy, and that is a big thing that we did spend a lot of time talking about that because. It is important that we we shrunk the binder a lot to streamline and make it more easy to find what's required.
Okay, thank you. What I'd like to do is get, again, the homeowners and if there's some new information, pass it on.
So. Back in your, I think it was our last year's meeting, was June 2024. Before our topic came up, when you guys took over the vote, there was a topic that came up before that, which piqued my interest. The topic was on the agenda, it was your guys' agenda.
Is this new information related to Satan's role of faith?
Yes, I'm getting. It was how to promote Swan. Was our topic.
Okay, we're talking specifics.
I am.
Maple
I
Grove
am.
Estates and road takeover.
Yes, I am.
You folks wanna hear this?
Just give me 2
Now
seconds,
promote Swan.
it'll take me 2 seconds to get to this point.
Okay,
I'm just saying, the point we're asking for this is. The only way to promote Swan, the best way to promote Swan, get your LVRT takeover, that's fine. Is to make neighborhoods that are family friendly, that invite children, families, community to move in from other towns, right? That have bus pickup. Road plowing, etc. That's why this is so important, us to speak to this and on behalf of any other developments out there, because I think it has been lacked in this town, as you said. Town of Highgate seems to have their crap together a little bit better on that than we. So. I want to specifically go to A76 standard. What's the difference between the word should and must, in your opinion?
I'm not here to answer that.
That's fine. What's the difference between the word suggested and required? Because you guys use the word required. Honestly, what's the difference between?
I'm here to talk about
I am.
how the road is built and whether we're gonna take it over or not.
This is A76 standard right here.
Yeah.
I want you to know what I've highlighted. And the wording up top, very specifically. Oh, I didn't bring a copy for everyone, so we understand that. So I want you to notice right up top. Subbase stand and cushion subgrade should be constructed and compacted to the dimensions shown in accordance with VAOT standard specifications for construction where local ordinances have been adopted relative for road dimensions of construction, and they should go. The dimensions suggested, not required, suggested, are intended to be applied only in low traffic volume conditions, which we have. Average daily traffic less than 250 vehicles per day. As I stated last time, I used to live on Bushy Road. When they paved that, they ground it up, rototilled it. That's not crushed stone you see. That's rototilled pavement. On top of pure dirt on a road that sees more than 250 vehicles per day. You have nothing on your road. Where's your core samples for all the rest of your roads? Where's the core samples for all your roads in the whole town? Why did you specifically require it for us suddenly?
This road has been on the records for a long
I
time,
know.
okay? So. It's a totally different issue, folks. Are we gonna continue?
I don't think that's a
bring it on?
different issue at all.
It absolutely is.
No.
I'll tell you why.
We didn't take over Bushy Road recently. Bushy Road has been around for a long time.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're holding us to a different standard than we hold yourselves, because you repaved it right there.
We-
When you strip the
We
pavement off, you have.
repaid it. Well, I'd like to rebuild every road in Swanton
But
at about
you have
$1 million+ a mile,
That's fine.
and we don't have the money for it,
But
okay?
you had an obligation by removing that pavement to upgrade it to the actual, not A76 standards.
We didn't have.
It actually has to go,
I'm
it
not
does
gonna
actually,
agree.
it actually states when you rip a road up.
Can I add to this?
No, we're not, you're
No, I
gonna
think
stop
we
the
need to
debate
move on.
here. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute.
No, excuse me just a second.
So all I'm saying is you just repaved Comstock the other day. That gets more than 250 vehicles per day. That's not even an A76 standard anymore. You're into a class 3 road. So is Bushy Road. So is Woodsville Road that you paved last year. What about your Swan Hill Road? You
have 3 houses on it, and this town boys did a great job. I drove up there, my wife and I drove up there. Why'd you spend all that money for 3 houses? They did a great job. I'm not debating that. It was amazing. It looks great. Why'd you do that for 3 houses, but you're willing to turn us down? What the hell? What, seriously? So, okay, I'm done with that, but I do want to propose a solution. Grandfather us in based on a multitude of past promises. You set the precedent by taking over the first section. Yes. Subsequent other developments that are existing could say, well, I took them over, you need to take us over too. You want to promote Swanton? Yes, you need to do this. You guys failed the plan to allow these developments to get in, but I do want to offer a solution. We need to kind of split it up. Maybe not a line in the sand with some scenarios. New future developments, you guys already talked about that, versus you need to definitely approve the roads before any pavement's put down. You need to agree to take that road over, because what happened with our road, I did my driveway, I had crushed stone on it. The guy paving it, graded, even wanted to remove some of that crushed stone to get it down to the harder surface to get all the loose stone off the top. Same guy that paved the road. They removed stone off the top. It had stone. They put down proper amount. Now, sir, you got some sections that are wavy and it smooths it out, so the high spots go into low spots, and you might get some different readings. Where that spot you're referencing was 6.5 inches, you might have gone just a little bit further up the road and it was perfectly fine. Unfortunately, would I like to see 15 inches the whole way? Sure. But again, suggested, not required.
The reason it's suggested, so you increase it if that's what you wanna do, you make
It
it.
doesn't say, I have an engineering degree as well, Joel. There's a tolerance, I work with high precision machining, and all machining has tolerances, plus or minus something, come on. 15 inches, it doesn't say minimum, it says 15 inches. You need to consider that. So you need to split it up into 3 buckets. There's new and future developments, you guys do what you need to do on this. There's currently unpaved developments, or sections of development still unpaved. Kind of makes sense that almost falls into a new and future development rule, you guys need to approve that, maybe. Dig down, instead of requiring a core sample, you could literally just dig a fresh stone field to find out what's under there, and if there's not enough, it's easy to remedy. The problem was there was already pavement on here. So if it failed, the problem was asking for the core samples to begin with. Because what was the remedy? What'd you expect Bud and Vicky to do? Rip it up to nothing? To bushy roads, gravel, and repave it? Or add new gravel? Nobody's gonna do that. That's egregious to spend money to do that.
You want me to do it to all the roads in Taunton just a minute ago, and
I didn't say you should do it.
Oh, no, you said I was required to do it.
No, I'm saying
Yeah,
you
no,
did do it.
Folks, I'm ready to stop the conversation, we're
I
not
can
gonna
be
do
done.
anything new to the discussion right now. Or we can go, till midnight, debating back and forth.
Well, I
Just
think-
folks, just a minute. Talking to the board member right now,
You have one more individual here, and I guess, it's only fair.
be glad to let him talk.
So. I'm a developer, so you guys are speculating about what a developer thinking, what should we do to future developers? I lived in Grove Estate, I'm a developer. What would I do now if I have to put a road in? I would wanna go by your specifications, I appreciate all the work you did in putting together solid specifications and guidelines for new developers. What's not in place yet, which is clear, is the ability of the town to monitor the process so that somebody doesn't get stuck like Bud did. I would want it, I would wanna come to you and with an engineer define where in the process I need to have an inspection, what that inspection needs to be. Get a third party engineer, as Alan suggests, that I would pay for. So at every step of the way, I'm not spending a dime that I'm not convinced and sure that the board is gonna approve my road.
Yep.
Now, the part that is different and does put us in a different category than that
puts you in a different category of telling somebody new that's doing a road, well, you approved this, so you can't approve that, or you. What Earl said is all true, and all that stuff happened before. The court rules are taken and before these new requirements were made. There's gotta be some kind of consideration for that. The road is not deficient in any way. This gentleman, you said something about all the roads in Swanton would all be buckling if there wasn't 18 inches below. I'm not sure that's exactly what.
No, what I'm saying is if you lose 9 inches of stone under every road in 10 years. There would be no roads left in Swanton because the roads are hundreds of years old.
Yeah, and they don't have that anyway, and they're not falling apart, so. I mean, I can't say for sure, but
We got roads that got some big issues. I
So
can
what
take
I'm
it all
saying
around
is-
Swanton and show you that.
I don't want. None of us want you to accept an inferior road, this isn't. The core samples are the one thing that you have, it's a physical thing, it was compaction core samples and Alan got, like. I don't know why the engineer did it that way, I wouldn't. If it was put up for a vote, I don't think that's the way I would write the requirement. For compaction core samples, if in fact you were gonna include core samples as some part of this. Approval process, but it really shouldn't get that far, right? You should have approvals along the
Correct,
way. so that-
absolutely, you're absolutely
And
right.
the only reason you needed the core samples is because this got drug out. And I don't believe this is your fault that it got drug out, I don't believe that it's Bud's fault that it got drug out, and I don't, sure as hell don't think it's our fault. But it did, and now we're here, the road looks great. There is precedence for you not to have to explain to some new developer like me. That I don't have to comply with your new standards. I wouldn't expect to not have to comply with your new standards. I would want to comply and I would want everybody else to comply because. You want a quality town, you want quality roads and stuff, so. I don't think it's that. I don't think the core samples are, they're a part of the story. But they're only one part of the story and there's a lot of other parts. And the net. The net gain for the city. If you accept the road, is a heck of a lot more than if you. Lay everything on these core samples, which is, I don't wanna speak for you, but, and you reject the road, what do you gain from that? The work that's being done, Bilal. Brought the water situation up to par, don't have the permit yet, but they'll get it because he complied with what he was asked, that's not gonna be a big issue, and we're gonna pay for anything in the future that goes wrong with that anyway. So, I don't see the risk for the town in that. The runoff's fine, I've lived there for 16 years now, or whatever it is, never been a problem. So the only thing that stands between you guys accepting this and not are some core samples. It seems. But I'll go back to what Earl said, I don't wanna lean on you, Earl, but there wasn't anything that you said. That I think anybody on this side, nothing I disagree with, and that's exactly the way. I saw the last 15 years. When I bought the house from Bud. It wasn't even a question, we discussed it, it was, and I saw absolutely no reason. I mean, when I bought it, there was already, that first section was already built out, great houses, beautiful development. Why in God's name would any of us think that the town of Swan wouldn't take the road? So. I just want you to consider everything. And I'm a developer, I expect to develop in Swan. I want to develop in Swan. But I don't want this. So, and I know that you're working through how you're gonna set up this process. So that everybody is clear, there's no risk involved, and they build good roads, I think that's great, I applaud you for that, I applaud you for that.
Thank you, okay, So you stated there wasn't standards at the time.
There were standards.
There were 76 standards, so again, we talked that. We would probably even consider that we had that amount of material. to go to say it was okay, because we now our new standard's 18 inches.
And the
And
engineer,
as far as the core test, that was the type of core was. By the engineer,
by your engineer.
no, we didn't specify that type of core test. Peter
But you paid the
Missouri was
engineer
working
then.
for the Hemans.
Oh, he's the one that.
He's the one that we met up on site over a year ago. Talked about core samples and left it up. To them. The Hemans and the engineer to decide. How to move forward, and we talked about the stormwater as well, there were two people up there that we talked with. One about the core samples. And one about the stormwater, because one of the concerns of the board is the stormwater, we know what the way ahead is. That's the path we go down, but that's what we did up there. It wasn't our engineer who specified that. And Pete Missouri hasn't been at the last meeting we've had, or this meeting to explain. What he put down and saying. Doesn't meet the new requirement of 18 inches, so it doesn't meet the old requirement of 15 inches. He didn't say that part, I'm not quoting him on that. He just said it doesn't meet the new requirement of 18 inches. He didn't say. Yeah, anyway, he sent the facts of what he did for the core samples. So,
More young. Want to speak to, are you a homeowner of the?
Yeah, my bus daughter.
okay. So I think board, we need to decide, are we moving forward? And the first thing, I guess, if we're moving forward is we say whether or not we're accepting. The road. As it is. Haven't seen the pavement up there yet, understand, very nice job, haven't seen it.
Well, I guess so, that would probably be the way to go, and then if it dies, then that means we're not taking over the road. So I'll make the motion that we accept the road as is, provided that all the other requirements of the town policy. Town road. Would be the storm water and the right of way and everything there.
Motion's been made to accept the, I guess I want to say road construction.
Yes, if you wanna put that way.
And have to meet all the other requirements of the road takeover policy, do I get a second? Motion's been made and seconded, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Nay. Nay. Nays have it. Next item of business, speeding issue on Bushy Road. Said we were gonna bring this up. And I don't know really, I talked to the people a little bit about it, they were gonna put the trailer up there and get us some input studies, so we have some. Actual numbers to talk about. Being a rural. Road. Pretty straight rural road. Very hard to do much up there, so I don't know. Do we spend some money, hire a transportation engineer? What the police chief and I talked about. The only way we're gonna make any dent at all in Sweden. Town and the village hire a full-time traffic controller. Because they're spending a lot of time chasing other crimes that require. Two cops even to respond, so if we've got a guy on duty. The village calls and we go help him and vice versa. So we're not spending time on the roads doing basic. Traffic control.
If I might add. I believe it was last year was. A Swanton police officer, I don't know whether he was doing the town or village. A Swanton police officer had to back up a sheriff, they a. Because there was no state troopers that. Situation.
Yeah, it's a safety issue for the police and
So
it's the reality of the world we live in. But I don't know, we told the residents we would bring it back up, we're gonna get some more data of what's going on. They're gonna send our guy up there, you know, to do some extra patrolling, but
Well, he has been up there because I was talking to Dave and Carol Humbert just the other day and they've been around that area, they've been putting time in and I guess, you know, we probably better prioritize that for a while because. And I think if the word gets out, that'll help, it won't last forever, but it'll help some, you know,
We could use that help
yeah.
on many roads.
Oh, wow, that's the thing, if you're looking at it full, yeah,
I sat out painting a fence post the other day, in front of across the street from my house. I almost got hit, and I was 5 feet in. Somebody came by with a cell phone, you know. I watched her go up the road, and there was a guy coming down, she did the same thing, she was still on the phone, but way around at the last minute. I guess my point is, you mentioned a traffic control officer or something. We probably ought to look into that. I don't know what the expense would be, I have no idea how it would operate, but speeding is a very critical problem right now. And the Guam Shore Road is as you know, it's a race.
well, it brings up a kind of an interesting discussion because I met, accidentally ran into one of the Swanton Selectboard members. And, you know, they're not really excited about the sheriff's department. So, you know, maybe, you know, it'll make it more affordable if we're sharing something like that.
Whatever, I mean, I think we should look into it, it's a serious problem.
Yeah.
We're not gonna solve it here. But we need to come up with some remedies.
And we got Catherine
Yeah.
back there, what do you think of that idea?
That's a fantastic idea.
The-
I also, I
the
wrote it down too, see what else we might be able to offer to help.
the problem is if you bring Highgate in, then that's money that's not gonna be spent.
I know.
Right now, between the village and just the town
Yeah.
roads, we could have, and we're talking if just one officer maybe. And having
One
them do
officer.
different shifts, because you're gonna wanna police that, you know, some nights at 10 at night, some. You know, just one person would spend all his time
With that,
just in Swan,
right,
yeah,
but we're trying to make it affordable, that would be the issue, because we're still gonna have to pay our regular police protection, you know, we're not gonna drop that and have this guy, so.
no, it'd be bringing up another.
Yeah, so just trying to make it affordable and easier to get
We'll
approved.
start hauling corn silage in
Yeah.
the next couple of weeks.
Yep.
Now, there's some truck jockeys.
Yep.
Okay, we
Well,
wanna see somebody, I mean, they really don't like it.
I know all about it, I've done
And that's the nature of the beast. But we should make sure.
I just have a question, does the speed cart record any data?
yes,
So it does.
Oh, very detailed.
So when you guys talk about the road patrol officer. In my opinion, and I know that people in Swanton hate this, that Swanton should look at policing like St. Albans did. To share the costs evenly. The village and the town need to share 24/7 coverage. Because, so I go to work every day at 5:45. And they have been around in the afternoons and doing, and you do see it in the afternoons, but. The worst speed on Bushy Road is between 6:30 and 7:30. I mean, they could sit there, you could have 50 cops sitting there right in front of our firm. They would run out of tickets and they could generate $1 billion worth of revenue for the town, because they're not just getting people going 5 miles, it's 40, 50 miles an hour over the limit.
It's the commuters who don't have any.
And they don't care.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna stop until they get that ticket, because half of them are gonna lose their license when they get the ticket, because they're going so fast. And like you said, I did notice the afternoons that they've been around, it makes a big difference. But the problem we've always run into, and I've called and talked to the state police about it, is. State police coverage, I think, stops at 2:30 or 3 in the morning, and they don't pick back up until I think 7 or 8. So they're not on. Swan PD is only covering the town in the afternoons into the, you know, very early morning hours. And everybody knows that there's just no police on the road at that hour of the day. And so maybe the thought we could have for now is if we could take some of that contracted time and maybe get an officer to come in. You know, early for one day, and then instead of, you know, covering the town from 5 to 2:30, they cover, you know, maybe an hour or 2 in the morning. And then, you know, trim it off with their afternoon time, but That's really the only thing that's gonna,
Yeah, it's not easy.
and it's not just unique to Bushy Road, it's every road, like you guys said, every road is, people just don't care about anything, they like to drive fast.
So,
Yeah.
what I think. I'm hearing is we need to have this discussion with the village.
Absolutely, and I think they would probably welcome it, that's my guess, because they got the same problems in the village.
Yeah.
As we do in the town. I mean,
And we'll get some more information and detail on
Yeah.
what you wrote, Nick.
I like the idea of a traffic policeman too, but I think it would be advisable, and I think we're going to look at other ideas about how to slow down traffic on that Bushy Road. I think-
One thought on it, as long as we're gonna look at all our options. Is it possible that then, you know, that we could hire the sheriff's department for, to do that early morning thing every once in a while? Just to see if it's an option available, because that might be the quickest solution.
I did read that in an article that I think did they speak to you or? About policing, the messenger ran it was you.
Yeah.
That the sheriff seemed like they were offering a la carte speed services, I don't know.
Guess it's
costs or
worth making a
anything like
call
that.
to Brian and see what some available, we might be able to throw a little money in.
Yeah, I mean, that, you
Well,
know,
I think if
It's
we,
like
come-
it would get something done immediately.
if we had this conversation with the village, that may be an option that we currently pursue. I'm not sure we wanna go off on our own.
Well,
but
it's
we
only
could talk
for
to
this
the village
actual
and see if they
survey.
wanna do it, kind of a joint.
Yeah. But in the past, we, you know, in fact, I specifically asked the chief if he could get more. Cause I knew people were concerned this was before, when they were building the first building, proposal. You know, to be more visible, give us some daytime thing, but it's very difficult for them to do the shift changes like that for that
Yeah.
short period of time.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do the scheduling, that's why he couldn't really do it, you know?
The other reality put out on the table right now is they got two openings.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
And so right now, the chief during the day several times is the only police officer
Yeah.
on duty. So he's sitting at his desk trying to get all his other stuff done. And if anything happens, he's gotta jump out of the car. So the reality is, even if we do look at more law enforcement, traffic control, I mean, not law enforcement, more traffic control. It's gonna be a while because they having problems filling it.
And maybe Earl's suggestion of just talking to the sheriff's department, if it's gotta be copacetic with the village.
Yeah.
But maybe that might be an answer.
Right, we'll have that conversation at our next meeting after we hear.
Yeah.
At the sheriff's office, and we can go talk to the
Yeah.
village prior to that. Yep. Two things we can look at, but it's not,
Not guaranteed.
and if anybody. Yeah, we got one Ross was on, but if anybody has any suggestions, let us know, cause it's difficult, okay.
Well, it could be like Heidi, they just voted to put a speed bump on a dead end dirt road.
I'm not going to. Local option tax,
In your packet. There was some new laws in the past, first of all. Where the state was taking a third of local option taxes, and they now make quarter, 1%. And you spelled out what we need to do. And obviously it's going to take the vote. The people, meeting day, how they can work into the work. And then what we're talking here is a town-wide local option tax and village together. Then we need to talk, we're gonna go that route, village trustees.
Oh, it's allowable
No, the, if we just. If we become one taxing entity, if we are one taxing entity as the town.
Yeah.
Okay, but the state tax department sees the village as another taxing entity, so there's still that, the bill is still on the wall. So we can try to move that, it's simpler, easier. The state saying it's more complicated, I don't see how it can, we're trying to figure out if we bought that from the town, we deliver it to the village buy this, it's all and so on. So that is, we talked to Matt Walker, but I think we need to have a conversation with the village, and Bill has some ideas of what we could have this. It depends what we're gonna use it for, if we have both used it, both the town and the village, we use it, capital improvement. culverts, bridges.
Parks.
Yeah, natural improvement. And I came up with another crazy idea in my head, but I.
Oh, what is it?
Well, if we had it now, what's stopping town from. Giving a grant for a project,
Well, that's one of my thoughts. What about to do what?
give a grant to the village of X number of dollars to go toward something.
Well, that's kind of
As long as it's this.
what the discussion was, and that, you know, we should have this discussion with the trustees.
Yeah.
But first, it's whether we're even interested in going forward with it, but there's some talk, that they're interested. If we go ahead and get it passed as a town, they would have to go for a separate one. And split the funds, possibly the way we do with the fire department right now.
Well, that was the question I had. What difference does it make if the town approves it, but the town and the village agree to say, do it based on grand list?
Well,
Is that a problem with the state?
well, it's all untested territory.
Yeah, but why would it be?
I think the issue is if it's our tax.
Yeah.
The state's gonna give us the money.
Money, yeah, we
And
can,
then the question is, can we legally give money to the village?
okay, the other.
That would be an
question-
agreement between the village and us.
But the other question would be, if that money has to be designated, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you can't, I guess that would have to be part of the voter approval process.
Capital improvements.
Yeah.
Improvement / projects and allow us to a wide range of things to spend money on, but. Yeah,
And then in the last two pages, the numbers that we came up with originally, that's just that. Then you can calculate it from there, but
But what's they calculate? What would it? last
1% would be 300.
no.
I just moved the decimal point
Well,
2 points.
now the 25.
390,000.
Uh,
12.7
times 25% or 75, whatever.
Well, this number, right?
What's the net?
Yeah.
Not the gross.
That's 2023.
So
right?
In 2023, you would have received $293,624. Yes,
Yes.
that's 0.75% of the $39 million.
Okay,
And that's the whole Swanton town and village.
That would be money coming to the town. Because if we pass it, it's all the voters in Swanton passing it. We get the 1%, and then if they come to an agreement with the village. Of how we would disperse that. With part of the agreement, I think that they're not gonna go out and do a separate. Separate tax, is what the,
It would be better if the state would take it up and put back in state law, but you know, but we have to do what we have to do.
well, we need to accelerate that discussion with the village because it seems like probably the best way to do this is to put that capital fund together. With designated areas, so when the voters go to vote, they know where the money's
Well, we
going.
know where their portion would probably be going right here.
Yeah, but do the bridge and we can set ours aside, I don't know, maybe future recreation needs,
yeah, I mean, I don't think we designate. All the projects we want
No,
to a capital
it's
fund.
just going to capital.
Then we have some kind of a process to extract that from there. For certain
Yeah,
projects.
well, when you extract that money, it has to be voter approved. Yeah, it look like a flood fund, I believe.
I think you have to get.
Yeah.
Well, we can, that's what they need to try.
Yeah.
Let's get this underway.
Yes, because if we don't get it underway, we gotta try to sell this because a lot of people are gonna see it as this is another tax. Well, the good news is. A lot of people outside of Swanton buy Swanton lumber,
I'm
we
sure.
go to the restaurants, so it's not like we're just directly gonna impact. The Swanton taxpayers.
Yes, we want this on rooms, meals, alcohol and.
Yeah.
Then over.
And
So,
we need the money because, you know.
Yes.
We had the discussion about the railroad depot. You know, we've got buildings that need maintaining, and you know, we're probably gonna end up having to redo the heating system here, that's not gonna be a cheap thing. So, you know, having that money there will keep the tax rate stable. Stable. You know, help to keep it stable.
How do they, maybe you don't know or you can ask, how do they track online sales for?
just a minute, I'll give it there.
It's done on the Vermont Department of Taxes website.
So I live in Swanton, but I have a St. Albans mailing address and I pay this tax to St. Albans every time I buy something. But I don't live somewhere else. So that's why I'm curious, cause
So
that's why, but there has to be a better way. For, cause most towns in Vermont have. Different zip codes than the town you actually live in, so I'm curious on that. Number that they provided you guys, if it's actually accurate because of. How many people in Swanton are probably already paying the online portion of that tax to St. Albans?
Yeah, but some people in St. Albans have Swanton addresses, so probably.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
That's why I'm curious how it.
We're not gonna have that detail here.
No, I just mean it just added to Brian's list of
Yeah.
questions, just gonna
This,
be.
this is the revenue though that would, that in Swanton, right? This is the number for Swanton right now.
But at one point, Tractor Supply was told by the state they had collected.
Rob,
Yeah, Oliver's point is a good segue to what I was gonna say is, one thing we gotta be clear to the voters about is the fact that they're already paying this in other towns. And as bad as it sounds, and I'm not all for other taxes, we're missing out on an opportunity to expand our offerings to people and have people that don't live here help offset the costs. So that's the biggest selling point. I know, Joel, you mentioned like the selling point and try to get this out to the people. Like that's the biggest thing. They're paying this in St. Albans, so we need to take advantage of the people that come through Swanton and buy things every single day in our stores.
yep, I agree, it's, the only way this is gonna work is by a real good job of trying to sell it, because. People here, it's half new tax, and then, anyway. I think we got enough information, do we want to get a joint meeting going here? So,
Very soon.
and it's, from my perspective, is this board comfortable? Without a state law that gives us specific guidance, if we pass this, we're willing to get into an agreement with the village.
Yeah.
And test it, cause then what's the worst, the state can come at us and say, you can't give that money to the village, that's the worst scenario.
And we can still put in that capital reserve, but whatever, 23% of their, 23% would be village and the other 77 would be, it'd be quite simple.
Yeah, I think it's pretty
Yeah.
straightforward, I'm
Yeah.
not sure the state would even touch it.
I don't think so either, why would it, we're not,
They're not that interested.
we're doing what the money's supposed to do.
Okay, we'll get.
Okay, I guess what I didn't I didn't add it, but welcome signs, they should be in toward the end of the week or early next week, so we're still gonna look at other locations, at least get them off at the town guards and get the ones down at the VFW, those three. Pieces for that one.
Yeah, well, town garage, of course, I know it's difficult to have space, but that business where a lot of people are getting off, we usually.
Let's see, we can talk about that more with Swanton Promotion, because there's some other folks here that.
Okay. Grant for the historical building,
So, yeah, there's got a flat meeting about, doing, the town. And Brian in particular, researching a grant for the, from the state. For the, starting the historical site depot program of, Depot Museum, that's one thing where that's at.
Well, I started the application. I'm pretty well done with, and now waiting numbers back from Laz. Laz was to meet with Patrick Menard. But unfortunately, Laz was called out of town effectively, he had to go to Chicago. Yes, with family matters. So I gotta touch base with him, see if he's back. Yeah. Then he'll get the numbers from Patrick. And we'll have it done in time, certainly for the October 7th deadline.
Did Patrick go down and?
No, but he did read what,
He did see.
and he says you're talking blocks.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah,
No surprise there.
so we'll, but it's, underway.
And but there's a deadline on that grant,
October
7th.
7th.
okay, new town business. Appointments to the planning commission. Oh, each arm,
Yeah, we supported the two nominees and
And then in your packet, you've got two nominees with respect of interest. Graduating was due, he resides at 54th Street. And then Sean Cheney resides at 205 Montour Road. They're both known to the planning commission. And by the member of the planning commission. Annette Desiree brought off their application, she's very full of ambition, we want to get going locally.
This will make you whole, right? This is,
Yep,
that's your news. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Desiree will do and John Cheney to the planning commission.
I'll second that. Motion has been made in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ross has joined us.
Oh, you wait.
He's gone.
We just approved them, Ross. All right.
Were you talking to me? Sorry.
Yes, we approved them both.
Okay, thanks. My earbuds died, of course.
All
All right. Have a good evening.
All right, you too.
Thank you.
Issues at the Swanton Public Library.
And I was hoping for getting a report, but asked for previous. A couple of weeks ago now, the library, elevator in the library, the pit flooded, serious flood, yeah. It's driving to the bend, pump stopped and it filled up. Necessitated first, we get down and when you work there, you have to get. Our clients, again, on the record, pumps, which you have an elevator. At there, they're working through the bit and the elevator. That took some coordination, so they were there on a Friday at the start. And then it appears that the pumps had burned out. And from what the indication are, and this is where I've asked the report, is that the pumps were going into an 1.5 long. And that line over the years roller, really like the size of the diameter, are pushing. That may have caused the problem. So, but they're working now, for now. And I don't know what the bill is gonna be, but we had them there, they had full pumps, they had them there for, they were there at 3 o'clock. Thereabouts. We had to get an electrician at the spur of the moment, rather than move there at 3 o'clock. So there was no, we had to do it, otherwise water would then out over the. And we it was also brought to my attention that we cannot ever have that door open to the elevator for that deck without a deck, ever.
Did they replace the pipe?
No, that's what I wanted to hear.
Wow, they should.
I know, they-
Right off as soon as possible. I can't believe they didn't replace the pipe at the same time.
I called them 3 times looking, I said, we need to get that, exactly what's wrong and fix it. You know, so.
Okay, the issues there.
Yeah,
So when we get that report, let us know.
I will.
We got other, right?
I just had a question, and we're going back a little bit, in the minutes, and I should have asked this when we approved them. We said we'd like to get a estimate of what the income the library has received. Because we had the library report, but we really didn't have, I think we were gonna ask them for that.
I forwarded it.
So if
You
I'll
sent it
still-
to everybody. Did I send it to you?
I didn't
Yeah.
receive
I
it.
think
I talked with Abby about it, so she knows.
she's, yeah, it's went out to everybody's email. I think you should have gotten it. Is it? The only thing is that they said that there was a $30,000 grant they're getting that's actually only 10,000 on the bottom of the.
So they're working on it?
Yes.
I think that was a while ago, wasn't it?
It was like last winter, Tuesday, last Monday.
Yeah, I think I remember, yeah.
My point is. And I know everybody's trying to get, we really ought to give them a due date. For that information. What's that?
I can re-forward it then, I don't know.
I didn't
Yeah,
get it.
Yeah, I don't remember any either.
Okay.
That'd be easy, I can go pull up my
Yeah.
email, I'll send it to you.
So one thing that came up during the conversation about the elevator issue is that the highway department doesn't have a pump, so they have to order a pump from someone else.
Well, some,
The sub pump,
yeah,
yeah,
it was Patrick, so
okay,
they don't have some, but as it turns out. We can't even allow that, so that thing floods, it's gonna flood, so we can't open it up anymore, we can't drop it in there because that's against the law.
But we gotta look at that, if they need an elevator tech there. That's one thing, but you're saying we can't with an elevator tech there?
No,
Oh,
we
with the
can't.
elevator.
That's what, yeah, so,
Connect it.
right, so with the tech there, we could
We can-
possibly bail it out, but.
Right, but it takes a while.
But they-
Right. Right, oh yeah,
I suggest.
What's a while,
Well, they come from Montpelier,
but they will come the day you call.
Maybe.
maybe not, depends if they're not, if they got work on.
yeah, we gotta figure the pipe out and.
Yeah.
Two pumps, go back up and then. He said he replaced both of them.
If we had a torrential down. If Montpelier gets flooded, all these elevators. Either one of them already get,
Both, are both pumps needed or one's a backup?
one's back up, but they both work.
So nobody knew when the first one burnt down.
Right.
There's no kind of electronic notice of
There
light
isn't.
bulb or you just, all you can do is put a damn light bulb in.
There is a alarm on it that did finally trigger, the alarm did. trigger.
After both motors,
High water,
but nothing for the motors.
no.
No way of knowing that a motor's not working unless you open up that cover and look, but you can't.
That's-
So we put two alarms on it, so there's one just above the first pump, so you sound the alarm before the second.
Yeah, they should be some kind of alarm system.
All I know is ever we get into any building that has to have an elevator put in, do not have one of that design.
Yeah, that,
Where does the water go?
like, we're gonna,
Yeah.
we're gonna do some other research on this.
Yeah, I think
Let's ask about a second water alarm.
first thing is, make sure we're gonna get them pipes replaced, email us when you know what's gonna happen. And then you should look into some kind of alarm system for them motors. You know, so you know the first one's gone, you don't wait until they're both gone before you call, you can call after the first one goes, so you know. They're not gonna be in that situation again.
This all goes back to discussions we've had at some time, we need somebody to on a part-time basis, so you make it. Free. Keeps getting. Well, I can't sometimes drop.
Yeah, I know, I understand that, but still looking for an alarm system is something that, you know.
Right, no, that
Yeah.
could have been wired that way.
Yeah, but let's find out who we can get to do it. Maybe Alliance can do it, yeah, talk to them.
Probably.
Anyone else in the library?
The other thing is the library trustees keep bringing up the light fixture. I went over with them that, I know we were waiting to the fall, we were looking at future alternatives. We were they're tracking replacing the fixture, they didn't give me that much pushback about that, just give me kind of pushback about how long it's taking. And that they suggested that people be late. So, they just wanted more of a timeline. With the,
Well, we could put some lamps in.
We'll get the lamp when they give us the report.
And the other thing is, there's a bank of light, not very far from that at all. Have you looked at the area?
no, I haven't.
Yeah, you take a look at the area and come back and tell us. How serious this light issue is.
Okay, I'll take a look at the area.
Yeah.
And keep in mind too, there's no place for somebody to sit down and read. There's one chair in the corner.
Yeah, take a look.
I think, and this is very much a trustee.
No, I know, so.
Do that like your report.
Okay, anything else from the library? I'm gonna move up. The Act 250 opt-in tier 1B instead of the emergency plan right now, if that's all right with everybody.
I told you.
Yes, you did, and you were right.
Yeah. How's Catherine doing?
Yeah, how are you?
Wow.
Nice light agenda for the evening.
It'll be easier once.
Yes. So, this is a return trip from when I was here before to tell you about something that's happening in theory, and now it's happening actually in real life, so I'm back. So the Regional Planning Commission has updated our regional plan, we have a draft plan. And under the new state law, the regional plan is now going to do two things. One is set the boundary for the state designation program. Swanton has a designated village now. They applied for individually approved by state board. Now instead, those boundaries are just going to be set in the regional plan. And once our plan is approved at the state level, the towns from your designations are going to be on that. The second thing that our regional plan will now do is it will set a boundary of a growth area within which you could have different Act 250 jurisdictions. So instead of needing an Act 250 permit for 10 units or more, you would only need an Act 250 permit if you build 50 units or more on 10 acre, on more than 10 acres within that growth area boundary.
Is that an aggregate?
It's a one, like for a one-time project, there's not that same like,
You can't aggregate it and then all of a sudden we're disqualified.
no, it's not like the 5 mile rule or whatever that is.
You know, you couldn't put 20 and 20 and 20, then it's over. Because
I think each project is determined individually.
Okay.
So 20
Yeah,
is
that's-
standalone and the next 20. In order for that benefit to happen within Swanton, the select board has to choose to opt in. So you get to decide, do you want the growth areas to have that different Act 250 jurisdiction? And in Swanton, if you look at the maps that it says,
Those are not-
yours are in black and white, well, lucky for you. I brought some.
Yeah.
Right, so let's look at this since we did that.
Next to last page.
Next to last page.
Okay.
The last color.
Okay.
When you look at that map, the area that's in the very center. Plus the area that's in the like pink around it, so just around it, those two areas are the places that are eligible for the different active jurisdiction. So the way our regional plan is drawn now, if we choose to opt in, those, all the properties within the pink and the mauve color would be eligible for the different Act 250 jurisdiction, 50 units or less. In addition to meeting with you, we've met with the planning commission a couple of times to talk about the proposed boundaries, and we have aligned it with your town plan as much as possible with your new town plan zoning districts to show where these growth areas are. And we also balance that with the requirements of the state law to come up with these boundaries that you see here. And so the question before you is, do you want to have Swanton vote to have a different jurisdiction, to have that 50 unit trigger instead of the 10? The goal of this change really is to make it easier and hopefully less expensive to build it. That's the bottom line.
That's the only area in Swanton.
That's the only eligible area in Swanton. Because of the way the state law was written, it's pretty specific about need to have sidewalks, need to have mixed use zoning, need to have a bunch of other requirements, and so we drew it as big as we could for Swanton within the requirements of the state law.
Yeah, and it's otherwise Act 250 to probably require most of that stuff, so they're like, okay. You can lighten up a bit if you already have that.
This would be exempt from Act 250 where people can come in and complain about noise, lights, all that stuff, the criteria that makes one happy.
Yes, it would be exempt from Act 250, but it's for 50 units or less on 10 acres or less. In this area here and in this area. So those two to combine.
But it still goes to our development review board, right, so.
All of your
That's where they get to go.
Exactly. So all of your local regulations stay in place. It doesn't change your local regulations, it doesn't usurp them, it doesn't make them stricter or less strict, nothing changes with your local regs.
Yeah, so there's no real.
Don't you know the table?
Earl,
Earl, can you guys, it's very difficult to do.
And so nothing changes with your local regs and nothing changes with other state permits, so if you need a stormwater permit, you still need a stormwater permit, if you need a. Wetlands permit, you still need a wetlands permit, so all of those will stay in place, you need curb cut permit, you can figure that, but. There would just be activity that would change.
I got a question, on that, on this Bigelow property, you sure that land's on land trust?
It is,
It is,
but the map, I believe, was drawn based on a certain radius from the village.
okay, so like, actually, yeah,
This parcel.
yeah, that parcel right there. Maybe you can put somewhere else,
It'd be great if it wasn't.
so we don't lose it. We don't lose land,
So it's just to the west side
Yeah,
of
yes, sir, yeah.
Baby Road.
yeah,
I don't see any real disadvantage to us by implementing it.
No,
no, I don't either.
So there's this resolution, we just do this at our level, doesn't need to go to the public for the whole, right, just like the select board level.
Correct.
So we've got the coffee ready for us on, so. And what you got is the template, if you go down to the very last, there's that, and you think of the second page. It says the municipality utilizes class to pass, and it's out there to building center and so planning board.
Now, I assume that the village is well aware the trustees have had this.
That's where I actually every one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we had. Got some
You
later.
guys did need
Yeah.
a trustees. I'm not gonna glad whether the plan and of course you have a joint plan commission we discussed.
So the boxes are just,
They're just there.
it'd be like dot or something
Yeah, you
versus
should- you should
boxes,
check them off,
but it's kind of weird, like pick this, pick
yeah,
that.
pick them off.
Are we supposed to?
Yeah, cause it's true for
Well,
Swanton, so you.
All
as
you do is
part of-
just put a dot there instead of a box and it looks like put checking it kind of weird. As far as I'm concerned, or
However. works
no,
for
we
you.
can, we can sign the back sheet and you can redo the front sheet and.
Yeah, as part of being eligible for that different activity jurisdiction, you have to state that you have the local city to administer your own development regulations and that's the this little check boxes.
What we can do is also sign this at the next meeting.
It needs to be done by some thirty.
Pretty awesome.
All right.
And the reason why.
We'll sign it, we'll
is
sign it.
because- okay, you don't need to know my reason. Okay.
Well, I'll make a motion that we sign this municipal resolution. It doesn't make these areas as, what do you call it again?
The village center is playing both there.
Village Center Plain Brook there.
Or one.
Status.
What do you call it? Oh, okay, tier 1B, alright.
Motion been made, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve. The resolution designating the village center and the planned growth center for tier 1B status. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Then we'll know the sign it. Either chair.
I'm gonna see you to send you a copy. This is great, yay. Thank you all, and coming soon. If Swanton is ever interested in the future, working toward tier 1A status, which is where everything would be exempt from Act 250 in those two areas. Then we talk to you about an assessment for what you would need to do. Those
Same
two,
two,
the same two.
Which.
So we talk about that in the future, so we'll bookmark that. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Nice seeing you. Like for the rest of your day.
Alright,
Thank you.
Good.
management plan 2025 adoption.
That was sent to you by email with the agenda last week. I don't have the original. And it's, I've looked through it, and like you said.
Night, Oliver.
Thanks, guys. Reggie is, his report is pretty much the same, some phone numbers have changed.
say, pretty boilerplate, that who to call for this type of emergency. Contact information,
Yeah, I read through, there's a few changes. At least I had that I saw, but. Hey,
we wanna make a motion to adopt it then?
Second.
there you go.
Motion's been made and second to adopt the emergency management plan for 2025. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Appointment to Swan Rec,
The Swanton Rec Board would like to, or has made a recommendation to appoint Rob Sweet to the Board of Directors. Rob asked me to share a little information about him with you folks, as he was unable to make it to this meeting tonight. He is a father of 2 young children, lives locally here in Swanton Village. He has been a interested party in recreation since he was a young man, and he is just looking for ways to give back to his community, and he feels that this is a good avenue for him to do so.
the board is ready, they meeting right until last night.
Previous meeting, yes.
Yeah, someone spoke.
What's that?
I saw him spoke, he was like.
You were there with
Yeah, that was it. I'll make a motion to approve Rob Sweet to the Swanton Recreation Board.
Second.
Motion remain in second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. Update on Swanton promotion, promote Swanton.
Yeah, we got a few things here.
So you will receive this in your email as well, but I'm gonna share just a paper copy. Earl and I had gone on Richard Copperthwaite with Susie. To just talk a little bit more about our promotion efforts, and I feel like this is just a great way for all of you, I've looked at this many times. As we continue to talk about it to the public as you know, just a way to have standardized information that we're putting out. I also crafted a slideshow which you can view digitally, but I have a paper copy here as well if anybody would like to look at it, and it's just really about our continued story of economic development and how we're promoting ourselves. And in that, we talk about the signs and how we're welcoming visitors to our community with more signs. Our rebranding and our logo, our brochure, and other avenues and things that we're doing, including wayfinding. And in the back of the presentation, you'll also see one of the reasons why I feel that wayfinding is important, especially to our downtown, because our partners in the village, Swanton Village, are working on some improvements to make that downtown a little bit more accessible. So as we can continue to talk about tourism and what those things are, I just wanted to make sure that the board was prepared to be able to have that conversation at any given time. So I can share that down there, but like I said, we'll have it digital.
This is what you discussed with us.
Yes.
Yeah,
When was that? There's no date on
last Thursday,
It is available on YouTube if you'd like to
so
watch
that
it.
would have been 11th. Yeah, well, 9/11, can't forget that date.
In addition to that, we are close to our deadline with the drone photographer. Did either of you receive the link with his photos?
Yeah.
I can somebody forward that on, but I don't have permissions.
I don't think we can't open.
Oh,
Okay.
no, I opened it.
If you, I don't know.
Oh, well, I work on that farm, I opened it.
If you need help, I'm happy to come here, but I need to get that
Yeah,
information tomorrow to the website
Yeah,
developer.
I need to get them people.
And then right around mid-October, we're hoping to be able to go live with some of those changes, which would work out greatly with the grand opening of the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same
Finish
thing I have, but I can't open a link.
We pretty much got the brochure ready, so we could get that going too, hopefully we can almost do it all at the same time, you know. And the website will get up, right, it won't be finished, all the changes won't be there, but the business section will be, and that's why we wanna do the brochure about the same time, is because of that QR code on the brochure. We'll be going directly to that.
Okay. Hearing you talk about QR codes, it's great.
I'll never use one, but I know what they are.
Going right, that's not right, that's actually the order, but anyway.
No,
okay.
I found a place in Fenway that they cat.
So. We finished up the promote song, I need to know. You guys are trying to get the other locations for the. Swanton signs or not,
Well, the most of the ones that we talked about is one on Lakewood Drive. The other one is coming into off the interstate. But I don't know how you're gonna work that in there because you're gonna have to end up going with almost on the line. Between, cause I don't know the state, you're not gonna get there right away probably. In that area, cause it's all wetland,
coming off the interstate.
yeah, headed towards Swan.
Well, isn't there one there now? Couldn't we replace it?
Yeah, maybe we could use it there then, yeah, that would be, I mean, cause there's a lot of traffic there coming in into Swan.
Yeah.
I agree. And I guess it would be even if we put it up at the town garage, the people getting off the interstate, coming into the swamp there. They know it's coming to swamp, right?
Yeah, but they ain't gonna welcome sign to look at.
Well, okay, so it's, then that's a little bit of a change, so are we looking at? The valley property, someone to go talk to them, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, these things are gonna sit up at the town garage after.
Yeah.
That's what I would do, I will do that.
That,
I said I can do that if that's what needs to be done.
well, we need. Permission, if we're gonna go in, we could
Right.
just go in and try replacing the existing sign to see if anybody says anything, but it'd be better. to-
Better than not do it first.
Yeah, I think some places, I'll be glad to, get them things installed.
The one on the.
Lakewood.
Heidi Road,
Under the interstate, once you get off.
There's a- So basically, the one on the Heidi Road, there's a the Swanton Selectboard sign is on that road, like. On that road where Andy's is.
Yeah.
So there's a piece of scrub land. On that's in Swanton, that's on the other side of that road, basically across from Andy's. Where it would be a perfect location for it, because it's in Swanton, you're passing right by that road in Andy's. I don't know who owns that piece of scrub land.
I don't know that either.
Yeah.
Well, one of the discussions we had with especially Susie. Seemed to think it would be better on Route 7 around the Hudak property because they're coming into more businesses and 207 usually they're headed down the Butcher Road, L to Enosburg, Sheldon, and you know, that's what that kind of traffic there.
It is.
I don't know, I'll have it on, I'll compromise on that one, but if I have to.
I'm partially there if you live here.
Yeah, cause you live there, yeah. Well, like I say, I can compromise on that one, I think, you know,
Well,
but we do, how many signs do we have?
we're getting 4.
Well, we could still do one on Route 7, and we still have one left.
That's a stop.
No, we got one there.
We were
You know,
talking out-
Lakewood, yeah, that
We're
was.
talking one out towards St. Albans on Route 7.
Yeah,
One out by Lakewood.
and one here on 78 coming into the village, yeah.
Have we introduced the traffic count in these locations?
Well, visual would be enough for most of these locations, because that's where all the traffic goes,
Okay,
Steve.
well, no, I know, but I mean, do we have a requirement that we'd like to see, where we report it, we want to see a minimum of 12,000 cars or vehicles a day or something like that, or?
We did not take that into consideration, there was existing 4 signs and one of them was up on Canada.
One was on the old Route 7 going to the right, which is.
And I think you get into, you know, if you get counts, just broad counts, you'd also want to take a look at how many were commuters and versus new people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But there is quite the possibility that the village would replace that sign as welcome to Swan Village, you know. I think I almost should say that, you know, they just say Swan.
we did,
I don't want
we
to
put
go
Swanton on and down at the bottom it says town.
Yeah, I know on the new one, yeah, on the new one, but I thought the old one, yeah.
So who's gonna run down the location, did the Swanton group?
Well, we pretty much have agreed that those will be the locations, we didn't know about the 4th sign, so that's a 3-player. Our 3 locations would have been here on 78 coming into the village. Or where the existing was on the valley's property. The other one would be on Lakewood Drive, and then the other one would be on Route 7. So that would leave the last one for 207.
Or that,
No, I didn't know if they were gonna put it up on Spring Street.
No, that road doesn't get used anything like it used to, you know, it used to be a main route, so like.
I mean, on Spring Street. Most people come into the Swan, if you like from Canada, you're gonna be on the interstate,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I would think,
I think that road was gets used by people going from Highgate going back. and forth. Yeah.
okay,
Well, that would be the location, you know, we'll have to do something down on Lakewood Drive or probably. So we don't approach,
and find out.
yeah, we don't wanna encroach the wetlands, but I'm sure the grade of the road goes out, so we can bank, you know. Build a bank, we can fill it and then put the posts in, you know what I mean, something similar to
state
the
highway
Greeny place. 78 is our right of way. I mean, Lakewood Drive is our right of way,
Lakewood Drive, yeah.
yeah, we have to back off whatever the state is, but I don't think.
And I'll take a look and see if we can find a spot and let us know.
Yeah,
Okay. What else have we got, so like,
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
This got passed out, I was asking about the income, income for the library.
Yep.
That was this,
yeah, that's what it is.
no, I gotta, you've heard me before. When we did a report. I didn't even know who the hell this was from, not David. There's no information on there that I find useful. But we buy a couple of stamps that says received. And we get, because if we had to look this up in 5 years from now, we'd say, where the hell that come from? Maybe a stamp that says received, the date we received it, where it came from, and where it's from, very simple thing. But we have, so we have an audit, anything that comes in this board. This is meaningless to me, I have no idea, I haven't looked at it. I've never been impressed with what they've given us before, I'm not, I won't be on this one, but.
We'll take a look at it, I guess. So we get that pretty much for the promotion, right? What we are, yeah,
Oh, I thought we're all done with it.
okay,
alright, so. Done with promote Swanton, question regarding this, and I guess. Take a look, cause some of this stuff comes in electronically, so it's attached that way, but if it is printed off. Have some type of.
I mean,
should say library.
Yeah, any planning or say whatever, it always says what it is, you store the dates.
and this is again, I hate to say it, I'm gonna tell you, this is like, for example, record keeping.
Okay,
Why the stamp?
any other necessary business, I'm just bringing up agenda items for the meeting of October 7th, I wanna have a discussion on special funds. What we've spent. What is sitting out there, cause it's time for us to make some decisions. On some of the special funds on what we're doing or not doing, so. October 7th, I would like to add that to the agenda, and I don't think I had anything,
No, the only thing I'm about to ask Kathy to give us a detailed report as of October 7th meeting on the special funds. What's there, what's been used. And what's allocated to her or spoken for. Okay, thank you.
And one other question, I think at last meeting when we went over the budgets. This might have been the one that's the budget that had the expenditure for the big new truck that you had,
It would have been 34%.
thank you. 34.
I did it and I never sent out an email saying.
I
did do it.
I was looking over the stuff today and I said, oh, crap, we forgot to get it, 34?
Yeah, 34.
Thanks.
okay, correspondence,
I don't know for it.
public comment,
Oh,
time to call it a wrap, and I didn't bother, yeah. Alright, phone events,
Thursday, September 18th will be the Swanton Enhancement Project Annual Meeting at 5:30 at the Village Municipal Complex. Thursday, September 25th, 2025 will be the Developmental Review Board meeting at 6 p.m. at the town office. Tuesday, October 7th, 2025 will be a Select Board meeting at 6 p.m. at the town office. Tuesday, October 14th, 2025 will be a Planning Commission meeting at 5 p.m. here at the town office. Wednesday, October 15th, 2025, your property taxes are due 5 p.m. You don't have to send a birthday card, but that's my birthday. So once again, Wednesday, October 15th, your property taxes are due at 5 p.m.
Just send her a donation.
okay,
you were born on tax day, don't you?
Yes.
real quick, regarding the Thursday's meeting with the Swanton Enhancement Project, several of us here will be at that meeting, yes, but. Special guest is Ted Brady, he's the executive director of Vermont Leagues and Cities and Towns, so I would encourage other board members to consider going. And listening to what he has to say. And
Maybe one
there are
more.
other, we did, that's what you were just saying, you know, this is.
When is it supposed to be,
This is Thursday night at 5:30.
this Thursday?
And there will be light refreshments, Shaggy's Pizza will be there as well, so there will be some food. Anyway, I just want to put a little more emphasis on that, at the Village complex. Because they invited him in, we're trying to get, you know, a few more people and stuff to attend, and I think it'd be great if you could.
Fine for start,
5:30,
5:30,
yeah,
get done early.
should be done by 7 as the labor. Yep.
Think you'll get away with it.
All right, I'll get the invitation. All right, Andy.
I have one. That next week. I'm on vacation for a week. So.
Yeah, good.
All right, you know, and you'll be here.
Merge thing.
Well, so Christina, grab your emails, if I send you an email, you can take a look at that.
I will also have my computer with me.
No, we're on vacation.
What someone says, I select.
Any other business? Motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Second. Been made seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.